HTTV in association with Absolute Warehouse Services, delighted to be joined by Mark Hudson this afternoon. Mark, thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about World Mental Health Day. It's coming up. We work in an environment in football where, I suppose when you started in particular, people didn't really talk about the feelings that much. You know,
No.
There's always been a big focus on physical well-being of footballers and players and the people around the club. You feel like more and more now that mental health, particularly in men, but in general, is something that's more discussed. Is that the case with you guys in the first?
Yeah, 100%. It's something that's hugely important to be open about. I think when I first started coming into football, I think it was more of, well, you're not a man if you talk about your feelings, and I think that was that kind of generation that you could just, you can just mask it all, everything will be all right, you just go out, you work, you'll be fine, don't worry about it. But it's hugely important. I think the longer I've been in football, well, the time I've been in football, it's definitely changed. It's definitely out there that it's okay to talk about it, and then because there are so many things that go on, so many important things in certain people's lives that have an effect on them day to day, but it's okay to find someone that you feel comfortable with to talk about.
And even in our kind of elite sports environment now, we have someone who comes in who works on this kind of well-being side with the players as well. I suppose that emphasis, it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to talk about these things, because we all see what goes on the pitch, but obviously these are 30-odd young men a lot of the time who've obviously got things going on off the pitch as well that perhaps fans never see.
Yeah, of course. I think that's part of life, is that things do go on in an individual's life that some are okay to talk about, some aren't. But that is life. It's not plain sailing. It's not easy, and it is important that you feel confident and secure to be able to open up about that, because it's important, because they do affect your day-to-day life.
With stats here now that 1 in 4 adults are affected by some kind of challenge on the mental health side of things. With the day coming up, what does Mental Health Day mean to you personally now?
It's really important. Obviously, I've not really talked about it too much, like we said. When I went to join Cardiff about 10 years ago now, on the day I signed, I took my wife we went up together, signed together, and then as we were driving back home from London, from Cardiff, we decided to go straight home anyway. Instead of going back to Guildford, we went to London, get our stuff, get ready, going to come back the next day, drive to Cardiff. But we woke up in the morning and my wife got a phone call saying her sister had killed herself. So with all that went on, we still had to go to Cardiff, signed. Obviously we moved into a hotel. My wife never left the hotel room for 8 weeks. She was pregnant at the time, lost a baby, and without family knowing about it, which they did obviously, both our families were affected massively by it, but no one else knew. It was only the manager of the club at the time, which was Dave Jones, very helpful, but he said, anything you need, come and speak to me, but apart from that, no one else knew. And I hugely struggled at the very beginning, and that through that season actually really struggled. It was a big problem. I felt I couldn't go into social in certain situations. I even felt at one point that I was going to get my hair cut and I feel like just a cold sweat, like felt clammy, and I didn't really know what it was at the time, but I've spoke to quite a lot of people since. I've obviously gone through that, and a lot of people tried to help me, whether it is just talking, taking myself away from situations, opening up about it, and until you feel comfortable and find someone, or you feel comfortable to be open about it, then, which I am now, because it's part of my life and where I am now, that it is hugely important not just to suffer it on your own, and it was just me and my wife at the time. We were living away, and it was just us, and we felt very sort of isolated. It wasn't nice, but we found people that would connect us and put us in the right place. And these situations in life do happen to people, and it is hard, but they're to open up and find people that you trust, and say it's okay to talk is hugely important.
I can't begin to imagine what all that were like, but
no.
It obviously has affected you as an adult now, so we've just been talking to our colleagues from the foundation, and you hear about the work they're doing in our community, the things that are planned for the future. It must make it wholly relevant for you when you think back to what you and your family have been through, that how important work like this is to help others that might be in similar situations?
Yeah, I think, and having it sort of advertised that it's there for people to go and sample it, and it might not be for everyone at certain periods of time, depending on how raw certain situations are, but it's having the place to go to be able to do that, and knowing where it is and what sort of times that you can get there, and just putting yourself in an environment where other people have things to share as well, and you might not be the one that talks, but you might be able to listen to someone else and then feel, okay, it's okay to talk and listen to other people's hurt and pain, then maybe feel that, okay, I can talk about it as well.
I suppose that's the whole point, is that there's been that stigma in football traditionally, that it's not what you do, it's not the done thing, you know.
No. I think, like you said, that used to be the case. I think that's an old mentality, but I think we get to a point now that it is okay to share problems, and that you can move on from them and deal with them in the right way, and get given the tools to deal with them in the right way as well.
Thank you for sharing what you've shared, Mark. I think you can't devalue how much that might help someone who's watching this.
No, of course. I think, well, it's been, I think, just over 10 years, so it's part of my life, my route, my wife's route, our family. So it's not something to hide away or anything. It's where we are now. It is our life. We deal with it daily. It's not something that will go away, but it's something that we're open to feel that we can learn from and move forward from as well.
Mark, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you.